What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Today we have Mithun. He's a squash coach, so we'll sit down with him and see what he's got for us. What's going on, guys? Please join me in welcoming Mithun here. Mithun, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We'll get started. Why don't you tell us a bit about your background? You know, where you're from, where did you grow up, schooling, things like that.
So I was born in Bangladesh. I was born in 1982. I moved to US in 2002. Ever since then, I've been living in Philadelphia. I went to a public school in Philadelphia. It's called Drew, and then went to high school in Philly and college as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in the States for 20 years now, almost.
Yeah, we came around the same time.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 20 years now.
20 years now.
Yeah, that's a long time. So I know that you do a little bit of everything, but I think primarily we're going to be talking about your squash coaching. So why don't you tell us about your, title and how does that world works?
So squash. I came into squash by accident, just from starting and just playing to being a coach. So when I went to the public school, the middle school, the organization called Squash Mart came to just kind of try out to see if they want to recruit people, kids. Mm-hmm. I liked it, and I wanted to join really badly, but my parents didn't want me to join.
Okay.
Because I broke my arm at a younger age, and they were too scared to let me join. So I just pretty much forged my mom's signature and went in and
wow. Okay.
and go try it out, which is awesome. Then I just ended up being part of the team. I played in squash match from 2003 till 2010, so about 7 years.
Okay.
Afterward, I went to a college that didn't have squash. So in order for me to continuously play squash, I managed to find a way to get into Drexel and go play at their facility.
Okay.
And just coach myself for 2 years while going to college.
So you're self-coaching while you're going to school?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would go to classes, and then I would have 3 hours or 4 hours in between classes.
Uh-huh.
So I went to community college first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take the train to go to Drexel, train for 2 hours, and then go back to class.
Oh my God.
And then afterward I would often go home at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
From classes and squash. During the similar time, I also got exposed to playing around with the Drexel team players. So they would just hang around, and because I'm always there, they will just ask me to come train with them.
Mm. So you sort of got free coaching in it.
So I end up getting sometimes free coaching along with it.
Okay.
So I would, because they would have, they need 10 players to have it, and they will have 9 only. So
right.
The coach will come in, can you want to just be a part of it and just join the clinic on it? Mm-hmm. So I would often get asked to do it, or I became friends with everybody, and after they want to just play a hit and run, I'll just hit and run with them. Coaching came by accident completely. One day, there was a coach, it's a local coach. He's actually from Scotland, uh-huh. But he came in to play at Drexel. He was just playing around with another, I guess, friend or someone, and he saw me just doing some solos, and he was waiting for another. He's, the guy he wanted to play matches with. Mm-hmm. But because his opponent, the coach's opponent, was running late, he asked me to just come hit with him a little bit to warm up. So we played some matches with him. After playing with about half an hour, he gave me some pointers of how to actually improve my squash game, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But then he took my information. Okay. Just to come in and let's play again. A week later, he called me, just random. He's like, "I have a job for you. Would you be interested in it?" I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "I'm putting together a team of coaches at this school. Would you be?" I'm like, "Sure, I'm not doing anything. Why not?" 6 days later, he called me like, "You have an interview. You have a meeting with the HR at this school. Mm-hmm. Go meet with them, and you pretty much have your job." I'm like, "Okay."
That's awesome. Side note, networking. This
networking.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. It's the random ways. So I went in. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was like he said, take the regional train to go to Bryn Mawr, and you're gonna meet with this HR. I met with HR. 4 days later, they gave me an offer, and a week later, I pretty much started the job.
So did you need any like certification, or it was just like, all right, you know how to play squash and you just now teach squash?
So the unique situation of mine was because I got a referral by the head coach. He's the director. I went through the loophole of not having it. Generally, you want to have at least level 1 to level 2 to actually get a better recommendation, I would say.
So in terms of when you're coaching in the school, I'm assuming it's not just, get on in the court and play. There's a lot of structure to it. Yeah. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So there's two sides of coaching in school, right? Okay. We had the school side that I was in, and then I did do some private lessons in the side. So weekends or even after, like late after school. The school side the structure was with 4 teams coming in to play every single day. So we'd have from 4:00 till 3:30 till 5:00 would be the middle school team. Okay. And then from around 4:30, because you had a lap of it, the way the system went up, from 4:30 till 6:00 almost, we had the high school team. Okay. So that was the time-wise. So, and then because we had only 4 squash courts with 18 kids playing, we end up coming with a system where we have 12 players playing all the time on the court, and then 6 will be doing fitness. So constantly switching over and over. So that way we have 3 per court. Otherwise, it ended up being too crowded for actual drills. Right. So that was the entire system of squash was. Now, the idea was that I, for my personal thing, didn't want to do a lot of private lessons to have the kids to be able to be good. Because some kids were able to afford it, some weren't, as well as some were busy doing other stuff. Right. So my goal was to teach everything I can during the clinic they're here. Right. Now, if they don't want to get more private lessons and more coaching, they're absolutely welcome to come by afterward. In terms of like, were there any paperwork or anything like that, or is it just straight up like coaching, like, hey, get on the court and do these drills? No, the paperwork's, you don't have as much paperwork during a private school, private club, as much as private school. Okay. Because I have to deal with a lot of the politics as well of school. Okay. So this guideline, crazy amount of guidelines, to follow that. And then because there's so much politics in terms of not being favored, not focusing on one kid's, having a paper trail of the ranking, keeping track of when the matches were. So we have to play other schools with matches. So we have to constantly set up matches with other teams and take them to matches. Wow! So that you have to coordinate all of that. Coordinate all that. Wow. Coordinate the buses to take us there. One of the coaches will have to go with them to go through that. The worst was when they had 4 matches, 4 different schools with 4 different teams. So it was the most headache, because sometimes I had to one time I remember I had to drive from one team to another, because we only had, I was in charge of the varsity, JV middle school or varsity middle school, so I had to run 2 different places. Right. Sometimes we do have another pro would come in and just get them to come help out if we need it. But logistic wise, having to track them, putting in tournaments, putting in matches against others, putting in nationals, and keeping track of their rankings in terms of just challenge matches and things, that is a lot of paperwork. In terms of your favorite part of being a coach, what would that be? The best favorite part is when they've been trying it for days to do one certain things, and they just click one day. Right. Or just click in the most randomest time. Right. And the amount of how happy they get. Right. It's priceless. Every kid have a different experience. Right. And different time. I had a kid who, it took her almost 2 months to be able to hit straight drives, right? It's a drive when you hit it, front wall to back. It's simplest shot. It took her 2 months. She was about to quit. Right? The day she about to quit, this day she's like, I want to quit this team. I don't want to play anymore.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I was like, no, let's just go play one more hour. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Right.
That hour, we went a little bit past an hour. The last 10 minutes, it just clicks. And she was hitting non-stop, straight.
Wow.
After 2 months. And the amount of happy she was and the relief, it's priceless, I would say.
Right. Fair enough. So on the flip side of things, what is your least favorite thing about squash then?
They're not as much, but I think the biggest I hated was politics.
Okay.
So to give you a little, it's hard to say politics, but politics where some parents wanted their kids to be hardcore squash player, right? They're trying to make it good to they can go play it in an Ivy League school and be number one in the country, and I have all by every year I graduated some of the kids, 99% of them went to Ivy League school, to Penn, Cornell, Stanford, Yale. Wow. So, and some didn't care. Some wanted just kids, the students, just to have fun. But because with also kids and parents were so involved in it, they would find any way they can to make their kids push them harder, even if their kids are not as good, right? So, in terms of that, was very annoying because you end up not getting the freedom to actually coach.
Right. And so, I mean, I've taken enough of your time. The last question is that any advice you would give to our viewers if they want to go into this career?
First of all, just play squash. It doesn't have to go to this career. Just play it because it's one of the most fittest sport in the world. You don't get injured as much. You burn so much calories, and it's just playing half an hour. It's one of the healthiest sport.
Wow.
You don't get injured. You play indoors, so if you don't like getting I'm not a big fan of getting crazy sunburn when I'm outside. So I love playing. Makes so much easier. I can play all year long, so it doesn't matter if it's winter, cold, summer.
Right.
If I can make it to the club, I'm playing it. But if you want to be a coach, if you want to just play, and honestly ask for help. There's players and coaches always willing to help.
Right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. If our viewers may have questions for you, if you could answer that for them when they leave in the comment section, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Thanks again. If you are interested in a specific career path or know someone who'd like to be interviewed, please email us at askalutely@gmail.com. That's basically absolutely without the BS.